Hello and welcome once again to that action-packed, exciting, and danger-filled show, Simple Groundwork and Diorama Techniques. And as usual, I am your host and instructor, Bill Grigg. We have behind the lens my favorite clam-baked man, Cape Cod Dave. Hello, David. Hello. I want to say something first to everybody. Dave is responsible for all the editing and all the sound and everything that we do here. And I want to just say, David, thank you very much for doing this. You're doing a marvelous job. And I really appreciate what you're doing for me here. We're having a good time. And today, guess what, folks? We are not going to go into that C-47. Thank God. We should have massive applause here. We're not going to go to that C-47 today. We're going to do something a little bit different, which will help you with your aircraft projects. And what we are going to do today is we are going to cut out control surfaces so we can reposition them to model an aircraft in flight. So let us get right into the meat and potatoes of this thing, and I'm going to show you a few little tricks about how we accomplish this. Now, first off, the best thing you need to do is you need to get an extremely sharp number 11 blade out, preferably brand new. And if you like, there is a little saw blade, and I will hold this right up against my shirt, Dave, so you can get a close-up of that. And you can see the blades in that, and you can use this to cut as well. But some of these cuts are going to require just scoring, and I'm going to show you a few tricks on how to score these things. So, oh, I got an itch. Without further going on here, no, further ado, I hate that word. Without further ado, I don't even know what a do even is. Let us get into this and take out this control surface. Now, as you can see on this other wing, I have already cut a bunch of stuff out, and you can see the wing that is not cut. So there we've got the two things, and I'll flip this around so you can see it. But you can see the control surfaces, and you see I've got it blocked in. Sometimes when you move control surfaces, what happens is the top surface is smaller than the lower surface. So therefore, when you take the flap and drop the flap down, there is a considerable gap down the bottom. So that's what I have done. I've just taken some stock plastic, cut it out, and fit it inside the flap, just to give a bulkhead for the flap. Okay. Got that, Dave? Got it right now, yeah. All righty, so what do we want to do? Now you can see, folks, it's sticking up. Obviously, that is not the way that we're going to do this. So we come down to the workbench, and let me get things out of the road here and bring this down to the bench. And I will show you a little trick on how to preserve your detail so you do not mess up your detail. I'm going to take a little piece of masking tape. And because it is against a flat surface, I'm going to make my life a little bit easier and cut that straight. And that's just because it's me. If you want, just cram the tape in there and you'll be fine. But what I want to do, and I will do it right here, is I want to get tight right there. That's pretty good. And I'm going to take a little flat file and just burnish it down. Now, I am going to take, this may pop right out. It's only glued in with regular model glue. But I'm going to take the saw blade, and the reason that I put the tape here is to protect the plastic from the saw blade going back and forth. Now, I'm not going to do this real aggressive. You can see, as a matter of fact, folks, let me get these arranged here better. As you can see, look at the way I'm holding the knife. See it? There's hardly any pressure there whatsoever. And I'm just going to take my sweet time and take this out. Whoa. Change the angle. Probably should change the angle here because I'm running into difficulties. There we go. That's better. That's better. And I want to show you the whole process because I want you to realize this is not a 5-second deal. And as you can see, the angle of the blade needs to be changed to make your life easier. Also, as you stroke the knife back and forth, try not to go off the width of the tape. And I'm going to change the angle again a little bit here and raise it up. You got it good? Yeah. Blade keeps falling out. And here we come down to the wire. And as I get close to the end, notice I get less aggressive. Nice and easy, nice and gentle. If it takes a couple minutes for this to come out, that's okay. Nice and easy, nice and gentle. And there we are. And we have a very flush cut with the surface. Protected the detail with the tape. And there we are. Okay, now let's get right back to cutting one out. Okay, I've already cut a few out, and I've started on the outer aileron. Now, also notice I build on a piece of countertop here. I'm on linoleum and a chunk of countertop called Corian here. I don't want to cut into my surfaces, so therefore I've got myself a little pine block. I think it's probably pine. And I use that as my cutting surface all the time, so I do not go in and score up my other surfaces here. Now, you know, if you don't care about your surface, what do you care? But here's the deal when you do this. A lot of times you might spill things and stuff like that. You got all the scratches. It's going to fill in the scratches, and then it just gets to be a mess. So therefore, when you're working on top of your surface, you also notice, guys, come down to the desk again, Dave. Come down to the desktop here again. I'm on the wood block, got my wing up here. Also, even though I'm on a surface, I still build on a white piece of paper. Now, I don't like to use newspaper for the fact that it's got printing all over it, and I have pieces all over the place. So therefore, I want my pieces, when they sit up here, to be very visible. And you can see how on the piece of paper it is. And plus, it protects my surface. As you can see, this paper is all completely splattered. And that's from painting, and that's from the brush painting and flipping it, stuff all over the place. And I've got a fairly, you can see, my surface is fairly clean. Of course, it's not going to stay clean, but it's fairly clean. You want to build in a clean environment. You want to build in a clean environment, especially guys that are doing small stuff like N-gauge railroad guys or car modelers, things like that. Figure modelers would want a clean environment. Everything you do, you kind of want to keep it in a clean environment. But anyhow, let's get back and cut this piece out. Now, what I have done initially, I've taken the saw blade and I've gone in to where the control surfaces separate. And you can see that line. You can see these lines right here. See them? And what I have done is I've cut up one line. I just cut up this one line, then I have to score. So that's where I'm at here. I've done it on the two flaps, took out the two flaps. Here is the flap, and here is the other flap. Might not be the right pieces, but there's the flaps. And this is what I've done. Go down to your surface, take your good sharp blade, make sure it's real sharp. Hold this so it does not move, and as you go in and pull your first pass, can you see that, Dave, or am I blocked? Because I can't do this on an angle. I have to do this flat.
I can see it.
You can see it? Because I have to do this flat. If I don't, I'm going to cut off my, I'll cut off my hand, and then we'll have a one-armed model show, which would be kind of interesting. All right, I want to get this out. I can feel it. Actually, I can hear it. And now, when you take your first draw with your knife, just go in and lightly score. Just very lightly, very gentle. Also, you notice I have a piece of masking tape here. This is if my blade wanders. Now, if my blade wanders crazy, I'm going to cut my wing plastic. There's nothing you can do about that. But this is for those little accidents where it might score off the surface. See, I can go up here on this tape. See that? I'm pretty good against any little minor surface scratches. Of course, if I'm doing pressure and I wander, well, that's a whole different world. We want to try to avoid that, obviously. So back in here. Oh, that's good. I can feel it. Actually, I just cut through the wingtip. There we go. And also, gang, I don't want you to get the impression that this is coming out like this, because I am going to do one that I recently did not score. Now, you also will get to a point where your score is deep enough that you can take your wing and really carefully, and I do mean really carefully, start to bend this out. And that's not enough. That's not enough. I don't feel comfortable with that. So I will go in and continue to score. This takes a toll on your hands. It takes a real toll on your fingers. And of course, now that I'm doing it on TV, watch this. Be off running down the road. Oh, here we go. Hello, hello, hello. And there we go. See how I'm doing this just easy, though? Gentle and easy. Now, how do I want... Now, the flap is in a good position, still held to the aircraft. Why do I need to take this flap and remove this flap? Well, it's for the mere fact that once I join these two wings together, and of course this isn't cut out, so the flap is going to... But once I join these two wings together, nothing says that when I go and look at the bottom of the wing, these cutout areas might not mate. And as you can see, I can show you this with a piece that I have improved. You can actually see it didn't mate, and I filled it with plastic. We will do this. I will do this on today's show. Oh, by the way, this is episode 23, and we are into the Model Builders series here on episode number 23. I should have said that a long time ago. I should have said, hey, welcome to episode 23, but this is it, episode 23. So put it in the log books and make a note. Highlight it with your marker. And let's take this out. Man, I still don't like the way that's going. I still want some further scoring in here. And I might get to a point where I actually almost just cut it out.
This is where you can score without going to the bar, Bill.
I am scoring without going to the bar. There we go. Voila. Wahoo. And we have all the horns and whistles blowing right now. I can hear them. I can hear them. Not that I intentionally set you up for a sound effect there, Dave.
Okay. Let's see what I can do.
Now we got a couple little chunkies here. Now this is good because you can see how we're going to start to use some files. Now, what I have selected for today's files, right here on Filerama, is these right here. We have a square file. I have a flat file with a medium tooth. And I have 3 different sizes of round files. Now, this is a very aggressive, this is medium, and this one here is fine. And the reason I'm going to use, you'll see these used later on. But right now, what we want to do is we want to take and clean up this part. And we do that with our flat file. This is pretty simple stuff. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this and cut this off. That's better. That's easier. And I think I'll score through these as well. Now, just to make sure that this is flat, we're just going to take this and just give this a quickie. And also, here's a good way to tell if you're getting things flat here. And I want you to come right dead. I'm going to hold this really dead nut, Dave, and come down this edge right here. Tell me when you got that. Now, I don't know. Can you actually see the difference in the colors in the plastic on that edge?
Not exactly.
Not really. No. When you start to file, you'll see it, folks. You can take a look at this. You'll see it. It will actually kind of change color. So it'll go from kind of a, I guess the lack of better, a whitish type. And you notice I'm being not aggressive at all, because obviously I don't want to take and put a dip somewhere from filing, you know, unevenly. I still have it here, and it's just, see what happens here? It's just too hard to go that way. It's not, it doesn't work. So there, and just your end, just a little bit, and this. And all we're doing here is removing a little bit of a burr. That's it. Okay, now that one's out. Now let's actually do one so you can see the whole process. Get that wing out of the way. Come over here. Grab some tape. I'm just going to use the piece off of the other wing. And like I say, all I'm doing, the only reason I'm doing this is to protect a little bit of the detail. And I think I shall take out this side here first. This is the hard deep cut. I get right up along the line, put that down, and now I grab my saw blade. And what I'd like to do is I like to come off the edge here a little bit and get it good and flat. And I know you're not going to be able to see it because my hand is in the way. But what I'm doing, folks, is I'm taking the blade and I'm going along that line right there. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I can do this for you. I see. I can't do it. Maybe I can do it right here. Yeah, I can't because I can't see.
Neither can I.
And this is a critical cut, so. Oh, boy, I don't like doing it that way. I gotta hold it flat, folks. I just don't know how else to do this. Oh, this is a bugger. Maybe I can do it this way. Yes, I can. Now, when you do this, make sure you are under a really good light, especially when you're cutting this way, because you can't. What I'm doing now, so you can see me cut this, is I'm cutting towards myself in this line, but what's happening is the knife is blocking my view of the line. So I'm going very slowly. Oh man, I'm scaring myself. This is so critical because I'm at the edge of the wing. Keep my residue away. If you scratch the surface of the flap coming out, it's really not a disaster because you're going to do a lot of sanding on this anyhow. But if you don't have to, yeah, that's coming out fine. If you don't, obviously it's best to stay off that surface and not mar that surface. These blades really are a great little item. Oh boy. And you can see, I want you to see the whole process, folks. That's why I'm taking my time, and I know it's a little boring, and we probably will have Martha down here with the pickup truck and the shotgun. But that's all right. Dave has practiced Martha Kung Fu. Anti-Martha Kung Fu. Dave looked at her, he said, you know, she's 90 years old. I might be able to take her. So, good old Martha in the deadly pickup truck. Also, try to keep it so your work doesn't move and flex. That's real bad when you're sawing, to have anything, even if you're woodworking, to have the wood flexing on you. So try to keep it tight to where you're working. Oh boy. Yee-hee-hee-hee-hee. Ow. And you can see, folks, this is not as easy as it looks. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, this is making me very nervous. All right, I'm going to try to get in here and just do the last little up to the edge. Ay, 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 come on. That's because it's flexing a little bit on me. And I think I'm right about where I need to be. Oh! Yeah, 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 yeah. Dave. I'm giving myself goosebumps. Okay, I'm all set with that. I do believe. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take our nice sharp blade, get good and flat on this flap, make sure it doesn't move, and now this is the total cut, folks. This is the total cut right here. I get into that line. See how I score this edge a little bit? Right here I'm cutting. And I'm doing that with a regular blade. And then easy draw. And over only to the edge. Be careful of not cutting off that other tab. That other tab is very important. Also, notice the angle I'm going at. I'm going at this with, oh boy, I'm pressing hard. I'm going at this this angle. I'm not putting the knife, oh, I moved a little fast there. I'm not putting the knife like here. I'm about there on the angle of the cut. So I'm very, very on the tip of the, very tip of the knife. I'm letting the point of the knife do most of the scoring here. See as I go in how high angle I am? And when you get to this end, I'm going to hold this up, Dave. When you get to this end, right here, you got to keep this piece. This piece cannot be cut off. So as you get to the end, be very careful. You can see I maintained it on the other piece, so it's not an impossible cut. It's just a scary cut. And again, good high angle. And I keep increasing the pressure of the blade as I do this. This, of course, is the thickest part of the wing. So, oh man, that's coming tough. I got to change the angle. Sorry, gang, I know you can't see this, but I've got to get a cut in here. Oh, my goodness. A lot of people will be like, you know what, I don't think I need to have my plane flying. I think I will just go with the way the kit did it. But I want to do this as an in-flight piece. All right, let us take a look and see if we can now give this a little flex. I go tight, tight to the edge. See my fingers? I'm tight to that edge that I'm going to flex. And I go in and just really easy. That's not even close. Not even close. Now, oh, you know what else I could do with this? Actually, with this piece here, I actually could cut this. Let's do that, because I have an open area here. And my finger's killing me. Also, I've got the tape now, because I'm cutting towards myself. I can use the tape as a guide. And you can see how much faster I'm able to attack this at. Make sure that your knife blade does not wander. These are very flexible. These blades are very flexible, and they can take off all by themselves with a little curve. Whoa, 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 whoa. And everything will go bad for you because you won't have a good straight, yikes, you won't have a good straight cut. Eee. Now I'm up, oh my goodness, I'm up near the edge. And I am just really, really going to take my time in here. Wish it wasn't binding. Come on, that's it, just a little bit more, and we're out. We're out. I maintained my piece. Now what I want to do is I want to take the square file, and I want to come up in here and just hit this edge between the two pieces. I back it up with my finger, and I just want to get this corner squared. Notice I don't go in there and go whoom, 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 a million times. I just go in couple swipes. And that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Take off the tape. Grab the flat file and just give it a little clean. Now, one critical thing about this. This is the bottom wing. This is the top wing. Okay? Here's what you need to do on your top wing. You can see we've still got some more to cut out, and I won't do that. I won't keep on cutting this because that's just gonna, Martha will be here with her old age crew, and they'll be in dump trucks, forget pickup trucks, and I'll be running for the hills. Here's what you need to do. Now I want you to get this edge right here, Dave. Get this edge right there. You can see the thickness of the plastic. This on the top wing is not good. So here's going to be some riveting TV. What we are going to do is, again, we're going to go lay this flat. Take the flat file. Now what we want to do is we want to thin the thickness of that plastic. So as we take our flap, I will do it on the other wing. As we take our flap, as a matter of fact, why don't I show them the completed wing? You can see, let me hold it like this. You can see the difference in the thicknesses of plastic. Is that filming, Dave?
I'm doing it now.
Can you get it? Is it showing the difference?
Yeah.
It is, you can see it? Very good. That's what we want to do. Now, when we thin the plastic for a control surface, unlike other things that we can thin where we can go in here and go at an angle and thin, we do not want to do that. I'm going to be about here on this angle. All right, so let's come down, and this is what we do. This isn't hard. This is just time consuming, as is most model building. If you are not a patient person, this is a great way to learn some patience. And if you're really not a patient person, you probably shouldn't be a model maker. You probably should go do something else. Could go occupy your local town hall, I guess, you know. Got nothing to do. No stab there, huh, Dave? I want to occupy my town green. I'm sure that would go over real well. And that is what you are doing. You are going to continue and continue and continue and continue until this gets down to very flat. I don't want to keep doing this because, like I say, this takes a long time, especially with a file. I don't want to use a motor tool So I don't want to take out my motor tools. And what I mean by motor tool is something like this. It's way, way, way too aggressive. I cannot control my run back and forth. I might be able to my first initial and maybe take off a little bit. But what happens, I notice when I do the motor tool, is I'll get a little unevenness in there, and I'd be better off controlling it with a file instead of a motor tool with a cutting head on it. Which I could, you know, I could do this. I could put a barrel sander on this. And another thing is, a lot of times when you're thinning plastic like this and you are using a motor tool, sometimes the tool rotates. They're variable speed, but sometimes the rotation of the tool will heat the plastic up, and now you're not really sanding the plastic anymore, as you're more like melting out chunks, I guess is a good word to put it. Yeah, that's a good way to put that. You're kind of like melting out little chunks, so you don't want it, obviously you want to avoid that. But that is how we are going to cut these out. Oh, I want to take one more out. Let me take one more out because I want to show you how you build this stuff. So let's take one more out, and I'll take out the thin one so it doesn't take a year and a half to do. Hello. Again, we put on the tape to protect from surface scratches. Right there. Oh, this is no good. That's no good. That's all junked up. New piece of tape. Make sure my wing is clean for the adhesion. Put this down. There we go. We just hit a reef. What the heck was that? We just run aground. Okay. Now, let us go in and do the little score that I told you about before here. I get right on that and just give it an easy draw, letting the blade do the work. Okay. Now the plastic is really, really thin. Oh my goodness, out in this edge. Come on. And it is going to flex a little bit. Flexing just makes the cutting way more difficult. And it's probably to my advantage. Hey, gods. And is that to the edge? No, it is not. This is a definite no-no, what I'm doing right here. Why am I even doing it? Oh, come on. Don't break. That's what I'm looking for, Dave. That's what I'm looking for. I've got my cut right up to my line. But you can see how thick the plastic was that I was cutting through. That makes it's going to bend and stuff, and it just makes cutting very difficult. You might be better on a thin piece like this to just take the knife, your number 11, and just score until you cut. You'll see how fast this end comes out as the other end. And now, the same thing, the other end. Yeah! Scary Mary. That makes me feel better. And like I say, the tape isn't going to be this big protectant like force field. It's not going to be a beam me up Scotty force field here, but if I go just a little off, it's going to protect from that little surface scratch. There we go. There we go. Good and flat. Holding it tight and not letting the plastic flex too much. Could probably do this in a vise too, a little tiny hobby vise. And again, like I say, you got to be careful with these saw blades because they flex and they will definitely pull you off the line. Because of the, well, you can actually see it. Actually, you can look at my blade. You can actually see the curve in the blade. So I've got a disadvantage right now with this blade being the way it is. That's why I'm really taking my time when I cut this, so my blade doesn't wander and give me a U-shaped cut, a curve-shaped cut instead of a good straight cut. And I think I'm right about where I need to be on this as well. Let me get that blade in there and just give it a check. Oh man, this is tight. Come on, get in there. Here we go. There we go. Very nice, very nice. Now, start from the tip. Get it good and flat. Take your sharp blade. Get into that recess. You can feel it. And notice, I can't see this. That's better. I got a funny angle here, Dave. Here we go. I can't see it. Here we go. Here we go. Notice my first run. Hardly any pressure in that blade at all. Second one gets a little more aggressive. Next one gets a little more aggressive. Also, there's little points here where the little actuator arms stick out into the flap. And that's causing a bump as I cut. And that's kind of messing me up when I go through them. But once I get scored in here, I will be fine. Now notice I can go a little bit more aggressive. Oh man, that's messing me up. The last thing I want to do on this is come into here for the mere fact that the flaps, a flap is a aluminum or wood structure, usually aluminum. And what it is it's unlike the rest of the surface of the aircraft. These are usually covered with fabric. So therefore, you can see the ribs and how the fabric has kind of taken to the ribs. So to come across this with a bad cut line is really bad, as opposed to something that's flat like that. That's not really a disaster on something that's flat. But boy, when you got detail, make sure you don't screw up your cut. Now watch me go. Take a right turn here into disaster. I think I'm going to just go to that tab because it's really messing up the pull of the blade. I'm through. I'm through out there. And again, showing you the entire process of how long this takes. I know this can be, kind of numbing. But look at, guys, if you don't see the whole process, you're going to say, oh, well, he took that out in 3 seconds, and that's just not the case. Ah, yay. And let's try to give it a little flex. Are we out yet? Hello. Hello. I've got enough of a score in it. Yeah, nice, nice, nice. See it coming easy, easy. Notice I take my time, go against it a little bit, and bang, out comes the surface. Now, again, take the flat file, and we are going to just give this a quick little clean. Okay, now, here's what we want to do. Get this end butted. Get this end butted. I can see a little sticky out right there. Now, here's what we want to do. We want to take this and we want to glue these together. Now, as you glue these together, do not worry about your leading edge. Don't worry about any of that stuff at all. When you put these together, the critical edge is the trailing edge of the flap, not the leading edge of the flap. It's the trailing edge. Now, I noticed also, as I put these together, see what I said about the pieces? One's a little bit bigger. Okay, so now we take the smaller of the two pieces, and that is what we apply our glue to. I want to get these glued up so I can show you something else. Actually, folks, I'm going to put this on a little bit of a platform just to make my life a little bit easier. Roll this over, stick that down. This is the piece I'm going to put the glue on right here. Now, why am I doing this? Why am I not just leaving it flat? It gives me something to hold. All right, and also, I don't have to touch the part to glue it. So can you see the advantage of me da-da-da or here? What's more to my advantage, folks? Come on now. That's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. And I'm going to use my larger tip and get more aggressive with my glue. If it'll come out. We're having dissension here amongst the ranks, folks. Here we go. There we go. Hello. There it is. Now I'm going to put out some glue down the middle. Now, because I put on such a heavy tip, I'm just going to take a toothpick now and spread the glue around. There's quite a lot of glue there. As a matter of fact, I got a little more glue than I actually want to have. So, I get this all glued up, and I think I'll take a little bit of that, get rid of that. Ew. Remember, as we glue, if it starts to squirt out a little bit, okay, and I'm going to this edge. Let me get this out of the road. See how much more advantageous this is for me to glue this way? And what I'm going to do is set that on the edge. There we go. And just let it naturally drop. Now you can kind of push it around and tap it down. Notice I'm not squishing. If I'm squishing, I could squish out glue. And remember, if you do happen to squeeze out glue, I can take this right off of here now. Leave it be. The natural reaction when you squish out glue, oh, I got to clean it up. Oh, it's a mess. No, 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 no. If this was to have glue squirt out here, leave it be. Let it dry. Then cut it off and clean it. If you try to clean up glue when it's wet and squirts, it just spreads and it becomes just a mess all over the place. So don't do that. That's a real natural reaction too. If you're new to model making, I'll tell you, you squirt out glue, your first reaction is, I got to clean that up. And no, you do not. No, you do not. That's something Dave has been very curious about, is what I'm doing right now. Okay, we're going to let this sit for a couple seconds, and I'm going to just kind of shift gears here a little bit and go in and start to clean up. the seam lines on this engine nacelle. Now, you can see on this nacelle, we've got, that's where the join line was, came right through the middle here. Okay, that's where that join line is. Well, obviously, there are pieces on this that do not have the seam line in them. This is where your doors open for your gear, so that seam must be maintained, but we still want to sand that seam and put it back in so we have a smoother fit in the seam. Also, because I am modeling the aircraft in flight, I had to close the gear doors. Now, I believe on 25s, here's what the deal is. I'm guessing, but I'm pretty sure of this. Your two main doors open up. This little door opens up. Out comes the gear. Then these two doors here close back up again, and all that's sticking down is your gear. I'm almost positive of that in 25s. Well, because the model was intended to be shown with its gear down, the gear bay doors don't really fit. So I got them in the approximate position that I wanted them to be, and if you can see inside, I put a piece of plastic here to back this up. So I had something to take my gear door and sit my gear door on, because obviously it being too small, it kept falling through. So we need to back that up. And you can kind of see it here, but as we paint, and what we'll do with the paint is we can get the paint down inside this, create a shadow, and those doors will look very, very natural. Okay, but now also, we also have some detail that we do not want to get rid of. Now right here obviously must be an access panel, and there is a rivet line running down there and a rivet line running down there. So what do we do to preserve that detail? We do the exact same thing. We take a little bit of tape, and not only am I going to run this so I preserve the detail, but I'm also going to get the tape fairly close to the seam line. Now, why am I doing it and not just worrying about that line right there? Why am I coming up? Because the less surface I have to sand is the less surface that I mar up. You're in scale. You can't take things and get them out of shape or out of round or out of things in scale, because just the most minute change in scale changes shape drastically. So that's what you don't want to do on top of this. You don't want to change the shape drastically. And also, I want to make sure that my glue joint is good and tight, and I don't have anything that I need to further do on top of this, like in other words, add maybe a CA, an instant glue to this, then sand it to clean up that seam line. So, first off, I'm going to take a round file with a medium tooth.
5 minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes? Mm-hmm. I'm going to take a round file with medium tooth, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And the reason I'm using a round file instead of a flat file here is I've got a little more control, and I'm also on a convex, right? Yeah, cave is in vex. Convex surface. And I come right down to where there's no detail, and I don't worry about that. Also, you can start to see that I've got a pretty good join line in there from my glue. This glue also has been dry for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. If your glue is not dry and you start to sand, the glue is flexible, and that's where a lot of times you will get a seam line and you're sanding it and it just doesn't seem to go away. Well, what's happening is the glue, the plastic is still flexible from the glue. You need to get that hard and then sand that glue. Not right away. Not like, a couple hours after it's glued together. Same with paint. Just because a paint is dry does not mean a paint is cured. Same thing with glue. Just because you can pick the piece up and it doesn't fall apart doesn't mean that glue is cured. And we are in the closing stages of episode 23, right here on Simple Groundwork and Diorama Techniques. With me, your host, Bill Grigg, and my faithful clam-bake cameraman, Dave, from the land of the Cape Cod. Dave has got some new clam-bake techniques and tips that he wanted to share with you, but it's getting a little late. But I just want to say, Dave, good luck with that 40 millimeters Bofas you just bought there to do a little seagull control as the hordes circle around the clam bake pit. So, once again, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. We're going to continue on this. I'm going to build the flaps on episode 23 and get into a little stuff for the railroad guys. So take care, folks. Keep on watching, keep on building, and we will see you again. Thank you. Bye-bye.